The Evil Within 2 was one of my most anticipated games ever, given how I feel about the original game. Has it lived up to the hype, or has this IP slipped into complete irrelevancy?
You're in one of our facilities.
So this is the almighty Mobius, huh?
Be careful about what you say. You don't know how powerful they are.
Right. So powerful they have to kidnap a washed-up ex-cop to help them.
It should immediately be mentioned that The Evil Within 2 is a beautiful survival horror game. This is one of the better looking games released this generation. It runs on what Tango is referring to as the STEM engine, which is really just id Tech 5 modified like the original game, but improved in the best possible ways. The PC port of the game is a bit of a mixed bag. If you have the rig to run it, the game is capable of 60 FPS or higher. In my case, while I can get 60 FPS, there is this weird micro stutter that happens from time to time. I'm thinking it's more of a frame time issue, and hopefully it's something that can be ironed out in a later patch. Tango did some really nice things with the lighting and texture work. Everything about it just looks better than the original game, with the exception of atmosphere. The game just doesn't feel as dark or as sinister as the original. Still, enemy and character design is much better this time around in my opinion, and there just aren't a lot of third-person survival horror games that look this good. All games should have great gameplay. The Evil Within 2 does have good gameplay, but I'd be lying to you guys if I told you it was a lot better than the original game. The animations are better. Most of the movement and gunplay are really satisfying. I just think that after taking out the game's final boss in the first half of the game, a lot of the charm and survival horror feel more or less wears off. If you play a lot like I did, using stealth as often as possible should give you more than enough ammo to make it through the second half of the game with very little trouble. The Evil Within also introduces mechanics like the crafting station, where you can craft even more ammo and other supplies. You can also craft on the fly when you're not in a safe house, but that's also going to use a lot more resources than it would if you were in the safe house. It goes a long way to be in the safe house when you want to craft something for sure. There is also coffee you can drink in some of the safe areas to refill your health completely. They do have a cooldown, but to me it felt a little bit like easy mode when you can come back anytime you want full health and don't want to use some of the medical supplies that you have on hand. If there's an Evil Within 3, they could do away with that and never bring it back as far as I'm concerned. They would not hurt my feelings or upset me in any way. Any way possible they can get rid of that coffee thing, I'll take it. I also really liked some of the new enemy types like the Hysteric and a few others. I didn't really like the Disciples though. Something about them, I'm not really sure. I just didn't find a lot of enjoyment in killing them. It's not their design so much. It's just something about killing them and the way you approach them in this game. I hope that these also don't make a return if there are any more Evil Within games or some sort of spin-off in this universe. I could definitely do without the Disciples. I don't know if they really fit the tone of these games, even if Evil Within 2 is quite a bit different from the original game. Some of the new enemy types, though, like the Laments and I mentioned the Asterics, they are super awesome. I like that there was some additional strategy in taking them down through the stealth approach as opposed to going head on, guns blazing. I would say that the gameplay overall has improved in some ways and is a step back in others. It feels a lot like the first game and it doesn't at the same time. Even stuff like the reload animations aren't as polished as the first game. And if you guys have watched some of my other reviews, you know how I feel about attention to detail in games, especially ones that have guns and have really nice reload animations. This game is a lot more open. I wouldn't quite call it open world, but maybe think of stuff like the latest Uncharted or some of the larger areas in a game like Splinter Cell Blacklist. When I say open, don't go in expecting Fallout or Grand Theft Auto 5. Because The Evil Within 2 is a lot more open, there is a lot more to do, and the missions themselves do feel a lot less linear. You can even choose to pick up some optional side missions, though it's difficult for me to say how optional some of these really are because they do open up parts of the game and even certain weapon types and things like that wouldn't be possible without them. So if you're big on sort of collecting everything and doing everything that there is to do, I would say do not skip out on some of these optional missions. They are worthwhile. At least a few of them are worthwhile. There's not many. Again, you're not going into this expecting, a crazy amount of side quests like you would in, an MMO or something like that. I would definitely recommend doing them for your first playthrough. There are some pretty cool collectibles that you can find throughout the game. The better ones come in the form of Bethesda's biggest and best IPs that you can later check out by Sebastian's desk in his office. Tatiana, also known as Hot Nurse Lady, is back, and the way you upgrade your skills is pretty much exactly the same as the first game, so nothing really new as far as that goes. But she does talk to you a lot more, so I guess there's that.
Congratulations. You're as good as you're going to get. Now you can stop gathering up all that green gel.
By the end of the game, you'll be rewarded with many unlocks, a lot like the original Evil Within, for completing the story. One of them I did find a lot of humor in, but it's going to be hard to understand for those that didn't play the original game. It's a little bit of a troll, and they're also kind of, I think, poking fun at themselves a bit, and I wonder if that was Mikami's idea. The story in The Evil Within 2 is about as focused and as unoriginal as it gets. This isn't to say it's not enjoyable. I've enjoyed a lot of stories that do these very same things. The first game had a lot of added mystery and behind the scenes stuff that kept you guessing even as the credits rolled. Sometimes you want that in a game. You enjoy being left in suspense and wondering why certain things happen the way that they did. The Evil Within 2 tells you what you're going to be doing and why you're going to be doing it in the first 20 minutes of the game. It's easy to understand. Sebastian returns and is given the choice to save his daughter based on the word of Mobius. Think of Mobius in the world of Evil Within, this universe, as maybe the Illuminati. They know all, they see all, and they're everywhere. This is not a good organization. Their intentions benefit no one but themselves. And they have all the right people, so to speak, with some very special skills working for them. Kidman makes a return in The Evil Within 2, but I feel like, at least in my case, you really stay in the dark about her intentions as well up until the very end. I really like her character a lot, and I'd like to see her make a return as the protagonist in The Evil Within 3, if there ever is an Evil Within 3. Or maybe some DLC for The Evil Within 2. I gotta tell you though, neither one of those things at this point are looking all that good. But here's hoping. Here is hoping.
Christ.
In conclusion, I think that The Evil Within 2 is a very good game. It's probably even a great game, but I don't think it's quite the masterpiece that the original game is. I didn't really feel like there were a lot of dull moments or anything like that. The pacing is good, but not great. The story and writing are much more solid this time around. The visuals and overall production values in general, especially with things like the voice acting, have improved, making things look and sound better than before. But it's the gameplay. It's the gameplay that hurts Evil Within 2 from being absolutely amazing. It could have been, and probably should have been, really amazing, but it's lacking some of those better survival horror elements that I love in these types of games. I just didn't feel as challenged as I did in the original Evil Within. And this isn't to say that that game was extremely challenging compared to a lot of other games and a lot of other genres. And really, just come to think of it, many survival horror games, or just flat out survival games for that matter, hopefully they can bring some of that challenge back, along with Mikami as the director, if there ever is a Evil Within 3 or a spin-off in this universe, and put a little more survival and a little more horror, maybe a lot more horror, into the third game, and it should be something truly special like the original game. But I enjoyed the Evil Within 2, and I do feel, at least for me, it is worth full price considering the amount of hours that I did get from the game, and that I'm still getting even now because I'm doing a second playthrough on New Game Plus. And on New Game Plus, forget about it. A lot of those survival horror elements that the game does have, I mean, all that stuff just kind of goes out the window because, I mean, you have so much ammo and so many other goodies and so many unlocks from completing the game. You really don't feel the need to sneak around or use as much strategy. So that's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Take care. Peace.